every now and again the singer would be going for it in song, and then all the words had cut out. I just didn't understand it, and I said, why didn't you sort your mic out? I'm sick of hearing it. Oh no, mic's totally fine, I just forget words. So I just pretend that the mic's been cut off, just for a second.
Welcome to the second episode of Stage Stories with the Exotic Ices Porject. I was enjoying the last one so much, I didn't mention that our names were, and I didn't mention even that we were in a band in the last video together.
Yeah, I did realise.
So I kind of just glossed over it, but my name's Ruby Jones.
This is Patrick Spillane.
We're in a band together, the Exotic Ices Porject. Been going about 3 years now. We've got a couple of albums out, working on our third. We've been gigging together for about 25 years, doing a bunch of different projects, all that good stuff.
Collaborative 25 years.
Yeah, a collaborative 25 years. No one's going to think we're that old. Who's going to look at it and think we're that old? But yeah, we just thought we'd share some of the crazy gig stories. I enjoyed your ones last time when you nearly got arrested for burglary. Check that one out if you haven't already.
Oh, yes.
That's an absolute classic. Yeah. What do you want to kick us off with?
Which one of gold should we go for? When I was in a rock band, after I'd sort of finished jamming and had to have that transition, the musicians I were with were sort of 20-odd-year-old blokes who just sort of picked up the instruments.
Yeah.
And they were sort of basically skilled.
Yeah.
We pushed each other along.
Yeah.
But we had the first singer we had, the two singers. We had the first singer and the second before I disbanded. Yeah. And the first and second singer did exactly the same thing when stuff went wrong.
Yeah.
They'd be on stage and I'd notice it. And every now and again the singer would be going for it in song, and then all the words had cut out.
Yeah.
And I could hear it, obviously, while we were playing. I just didn't understand it, and I said, why didn't you sort your mic out? I'm sick of hearing it. Oh no, mic's totally fine, I just forget words. So I just pretend that the mic's been cut off, just for a second. And obviously it bloody got me, and I thought it was fair enough.
Yeah.
And then the new singer came, and I realised he did the same thing. And I went up to him after and said, did you forget the words? Yeah, how did you know? He was like...
like you pulled him up for the schoolboy, thought he got away with it.
I've seen this one before. But we did have it with a guitarist, a very good friend of ours. And we used to jam, so it was just sort of whatever, in whatever key.
Yeah.
And he'd join in on lead, and he'd sort of join in and go, trying to find where he wants to be. And then if he got it wrong, he'd stop and look at his guitar as if it were broken, or start tuning it. Even better, playing with amp, Not even his amp. There were some of the, I don't know, it's a good idea, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you could...
Technical failure is better than a personal failure.
Yeah. I've always found it. This is really bad. I forget my own lyrics. Don't forget other people's, I always forget my own. And whenever I do forget my own lyrics, I just kind of fill it in with whatever's in my head at that moment. And if I Liam Gallagherize it just enough, it's not a problem. There's always this bit in this one song. And the reason was, I didn't have the lyric finished the first time we did it live, so we were doing it live, and I was thinking... Here comes the bit where I've got no line. Here comes the bit where I've got no line. And then I remembered Liam Gallagher, so I just kind of went, and then just started singing the regular lyrics again. And I got away with it because it was such a short moment in time. It was such a short bit of the song that we were sort of playing as well. I got away with it. I think that's important as well. When you make a mistake, it's not the mistake, it's how you recover from it that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, playing drums, obviously I make mistakes, and they're so tiny, but to me they're massive. Yeah. And people... They're either being polite or they say, "Oh well, I didn't notice it." But is that because the recovery was good? Now on drums, I'm fairly good at blagging it and having a recovery if I do something. Sometimes people say that bit were really good and it was a complete blag, which has happened on many of our recordings. But then when I started trying to learn piano to play one of our songs live, potentially, if you play the wrong note, that's it. You can't recover when you've just started. You just played it wrong. Simple as.
It's all about the recovery.
That happened on one of our gigs, and it's recorded on the live where it's Big Rooster Jeff. And what the last song we did, it was really integral to have the hi-hat going up and down. And right at the beginning of the song, it dropped at the clutch and it wasn't right. And I managed to catch it straight back on. And you just heard Max go, good save. I'm proper proud of that one.
What about that one recently? You've got to mention that one recently where you dropped the stick during the recording and also caught it within one movement on the right cymbal. That were a good one.
You can just hear it. I think. Is it safe as that?
Yeah.
And we actually videoed just so you can see it happen as well.
I'll put it in now. I'll put it in now.
You can see the point and. I just sort of dropped it. It was the bloody end as well. Where And I just grabbed it, but you can hear a very small fluctuation in time.
It was the second take, and it was so perfect. And then at that moment, the stick flew out of your hand, and you just went like that.
Shit.
You just flew out of it. Going back to gig stories, this isn't quite a gig story, but it's another hilarious one to do with the world of gigging. As an avid side person who often slides into other people's business, other people's projects, files get sent about here, there and everywhere, you record stuff, blah 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 blah. Doing this session project with this one band with a good friend of ours, and the singer at the time, he was very good at what he did, but he was a bit clueless when it came to modern technology and all that stuff. We recorded this song, it was really good, the mix came out really great. And one of the other guys in the band was handling uploading it to Spotify and YouTube and Bandcamp, and he was like to the singer who had the track, he was like, right dude, send us the track over, mate. And he goes, yeah, sends it over, he sends an MP3 and he goes, oh no mate, I need you to send the WAV over. And then the singer just goes, MP3 is the same as WAV, there is no difference. And then he goes, oh, and then this massive row happened because of it, because the singer was like, no, I was talking to the recording engineer told me no one can even tell the difference between MP3 and WAV, there's no difference whatsoever. So we ended up releasing the MP3 as the official audio for the song, because he was like, no, we don't need the WAV, MP3 is exactly the same.
And what, there's 40,000 megabytes different.
Yeah.
We played a gig in Wakefield, again this was with a sort of rock band that I was with at the time, and a good friend of ours came with, and I think it was a weekday gig unfortunately, so it was relatively quiet, but we were young. There was a lady there, and she was an older lady from Germany, and she was really nice, and she was proper into the tunes and stuff. And barman said, oh, she's alright, she's just a regular, you've not seen her. Because you're a bit, you're always concerned. No, we're happening at the pub and we were getting kicked out, so she said, oh, I live down the road, come back to mine and get some beers. And fair enough, nowhere else to go, let's go. So me, the guitarist, and my friend went down, and they were crapping their khakis, sort of, where are we going, what are we doing with this 6'6" tall German woman. It was very, very peculiar. And then when we got there, says, oh, we can go sit in the shed, because we all smoked. Went into the shed and there was all this jeweller's equipment, and there was a little mini forge and a crucible and all these bits and stuff. I said, what do you do? Oh, I make jewellery, that's that's sort of my job. And about 3 in the morning, one of them went to bed, the other one got freaked out and disappeared, thinking we're all going to get killed and be found in briefcases. And so I just said, well, can I have a go then? And ended up smelting some silver at 3 in the morning and made a small little rabbit necklace from another, which she still has now. So
Wasn't sure where that one was going to go then. Wasn't sure where that one was going to go.
And we had college the next day, so my mate stayed there and I slept next to him. And when I'd woke up, he were gone. And I just woke up in this house and it was empty, but there were some moving in boxes and they had the scariest writing, because the Europeans have different sort of handwriting. It was really gothic handwriting. Everything looked like it had come from The Shining in the kitchen, and whoa.
I've got a good one for you that you'll be totally unaware that this happened.
Oh, good.
But do you remember the first time you ever rehearsed with our old band, the first time where it was just the 3 of us?
At Stompbox?
At the other place over on Daisy Hill, when it was just the 3 of us, me, you and the old guitarist and singer. That very first time when it was just us, without, because we were in a band previously before to that as well.
Yeah.
Do you remember that night? Do you remember much about it?
Vaguely.
You nearly got fired before you even played a note.
Is this to do with joints?
No.
Go on.
No, this is not to do with shrubbery.
And also, I never played a note anyway.
No, we got there, and at the time, we were like, we were proper buzzing about it. We had a couple of tracks, and we were going to learn them, we were going to teach you them, and we were all going to play them. And so we got all set up and everything. Because very early days, we were very inexperienced. Well, us two were very inexperienced. And we got up there, and I said to you, right, well, here's a song that's in 5/4, and then I played it to you and you just looked at me and you just went, that sounds like 4/4. And I didn't know you at all at that point, and I was just like, who is this guy? It's definitely in 5/4. And then I said, well, it's in 5/4, just play a 5/4 beat over the top of it. And you just looked at me and you just said, I'll just play a 4 over the top of it. And you did. And do you know what the worst part was that it sounded really good. And in that moment, we both looked at each other being like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? What is he doing here? This is definitely in 5/4. And he just played a 4 over the top and it just worked. And we were, it was a really weird set of emotions. We were really impressed at the same time that you pulled it off and it worked. But at the same time, we were just like, what is going on? What is going on?
And this is why it ended up being called 54/44.
Yeah.
Because it was 4/4.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Your left hand was in 4, but your right was in 4.
Yeah.
I think as well, when I'd sort of joined you guys, it's not like I had more experience, but I had a bloody lot more.
Yeah.
I'd just come from playing every single week, twice a week.
Yeah.
In fact, I went for an audition once. I've never done it much. I went for an audition for a band, and they were a bit more of a psychedelic type band.
Yeah.
And he played loads of stuff in different time signatures, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, it sounded really simple, but at the time, I just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And the kid was right with it. Right, well, never mind.
Yeah.
So that was always sad. But now I'm glad now how I accidentally learned how to play in different times. Yeah, basically by getting it wrong and going, bloody hell.
Yeah. You just played a straight four over the top of it, and then you remember the key thing was knowing where the chorus was, because you needed to stop on a different bar to get to the chorus. Yeah, so that was the key with that one. Was you could play whatever you wanted as long as all three of us started the chorus on the same the downbeat.
I remember I compensated for that by doing a weird move. So I went on there,
and it just sort of worked, didn't it? And that just fueled the next couple of years, didn't it? Every time we had a weird bit, it just sort of worked.
No, I'll never forget, and I'll never be more pissed off than ever than when I'd written Pat Boy originally on guitar and give it to the lads. I actually couldn't play it on drums, but I could play it on guitar, just the main riff, and I could play it rest at song, but every time it came to the main riff I fucked it up. I nearly got it, and it really did sort of piss me off. And one day I came into practice here, I think the drum kit was there at the time.
We were renovating the place.
Max just went, "Here, Pat, we've got a song to play here." He just started playing. He started playing the Pat Boy verse, and Max was just playing a really simple beat over the top of it. And as soon as I sat back and played that, I've got it now. But I did all the embellishments and went wild. But I remember it was sat there just going like that. You listening? This is the one.
There's a slight variation in that story as well, and that was the time where I had to break you in order to play it. Do you remember as well? There was that when there was the initial sussing the beat out, and then there was learning it, and there was this one time where he wasn't available for rehearsal. So me and you met up, and we literally just sweated this one riff for 3 hours, didn't we? We just went over. But then as soon as you did it once, everything else has been perfect since, hasn't it? Like it just done.
That's what happened to me. I just oh shit, that were it.
Yeah. And then it just built it, and then it just became this thing. And then like you listen to the live version on the live album, which a picture will be appearing on the screen right now with a QR code. When you listen to that live version, you're doing like offbeat 16s over it and stuff, and it's like when we play it again now just to warm up, it's a different song now, isn't it? Like
it is. Well, they always change it.
Yeah. Do you remember we did it unrehearsed recently as an encore and we smashed it?
Yeah, I was knackered.
Thank you for watching episode 2 of Stage Stories with the Exotic Ices Project. There's a link below to stream our music. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Comment, let me know some of your weird stage and weird rehearsal stories. There's many more where these came from.
Absolutely.
There's hundreds.
And if you'd like to know why I'm completely covered in filth, do get in touch.
Well, watch the next video. Watch the next week's video, and you'll find all about where he's covered in filth.
You get to see Ruby's reaction to me telling him the story.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.
Cheers, bye.
Yeah, smashed it. Easy.
But I'm glad we had tangents then.
Yeah.